Hey guys, my name's Lindy. I'm an American that's been living in France for over 6 years now, and for today's video, we are visiting my family in the US. I am currently at the airport, and I thought it would be fun to kind of talk about like my reverse culture shock. So things that have become normal living in France that coming back to the US, I'm like, oh yeah, we do that. As I just had something happen where I noticed it. So, all right, c'est parti. I want to add too that these aren't negative because I do love living in France, but I also like to come visit the US and see family, and I enjoy both cultures and countries. But these are just some like initial first reactions on things I've noticed since being back for the past 2 days. So I got a cup of coffee at the airport at Dunkin' Donuts, and my eyes bulged when I saw the drink of the lady in front of me. What she got, it was huge. And I know that's the stereotype that we have for the US, that everything is bigger, but I just forgot how huge the drinks are. And also, a side note for restaurants, you can also get free refills on soda drinks. And then along with that, I went to pay and it had said $4.90 for the cost, but then she said it was $5.13. And then I almost said something, but then I remembered we have a sales tax in the US. So I do prefer that in Europe where what you see is what you pay. So next is the initial friendliness of people. I think this one shows to a way to really understand both cultures and countries. So in the US, people chat with each other and become quick friends. There was a lady in front of me boarding the plane, and then she just started chatting with the lady next to her who she didn't know. Ended up asking like where she lives. And even for me, there was a grandma sitting next to me on the plane, and she did the same thing, asking where I'm from, where do I live, what do I do? And then she wanted to share her experiences as well. But yeah, just like to say I was surprised. Yeah, living in France, I would never just go up to somebody and ask them, like, oh, where are you from? And vous habitez? And I noticed even as I was chatting with her, I was kind of weary and didn't want to give too many details. And then even thought about how on the train ride to the airport, nobody would chat with anybody next to them. It's just not really a thing unless you know them. And that's not to say that French people don't chat with strangers. For example, when I was waiting for my train, there were two sweet French ladies confused on how to find train availability for tomorrow and asked me for help. And then after we chatted, and they thought I was a student, and so it does happen. But I think the difference is the initial level of friendliness and what information people are willing to share with others. Americans tend to ask personal stuff right up front, and it's seen as small talk, where to a lot of French people, those topics are reserved for more once you know somebody, aka your friends. And even living in like a smaller town, or once you have your local spots, if you move or whatever, you definitely have people that you see more regularly and like your local baker or whatever, and they know you and they'll ask how you are and stuff, but it takes more time to get to know people. Whereas in the US, you could not know them at all and they'll just be like, oh, how are you today? And again, as French people, it's like, I don't know you, so why are you asking? It just depends. It depends how you look at it. On one side, it can be nice because it's like this friendliness, but then on the other side it's like it's not very genuine because they're asking, but do they actually care? So it's just a big difference I've noticed, and don't fully know how to articulate it, but let me know your thoughts below. I just went to get a little snack between flights. I said hello, and she kind of was like, oh, hi. Just like living in France, it's just very normal. You say bonjour whenever you go into a store, a restaurant, anything, really anywhere. But in the US, you go into a store or a restaurant, and often you don't really say hi, you just start saying what you need. It's actually kind of strange if you think about it. For example, you just walk in and say, table for two. It's like, what about hello? Alright, so this one's more of a funny one, but thicker toilet paper. France has pink toilet paper, not everywhere, but it is quite common. And then in the US, I feel like it's thick, cushiony toilet paper. Not really much else to say about it, just a first reaction of like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Ice. So Americans put ice in everything. Not even only in summer months, but really all the time. It seems they order like a soda and the glass is filled to the brim with ice. It's just a very common thing. And yeah, it does water down the drink, but they want it cold. And a less fun one is controversial and hateful advertisements. When I got home, my parents had the TV on, and I just forgot how many constant ads there are of just like hateful to others. Especially during presidential campaign season, it gets even worse. There was one last night talking about a group of people in just such a hateful way, and I sat there just shocked that they were allowed to air something just so hurtful and anti another group of people. It was just like nothing subliminal, it was just pure hate. To go along with politics as well, something that you would never see in France that is very common in the US is having who you're voting for have a sign in your front yard to show your support. Whereas in France, it's just not as common to fully be open about who you vote for. It's kind of seen as taboo. And yes, politics in anywhere can be taboo, but especially saying who you're voting for, it's just not as common, or Americans seem to be proud and want to share who they're voting for. So they have signs that they put in their yard to show their support. And the last one you can see in like almost every American movie that shows suburbs, American flags are everywhere. Even like driving in our neighborhood, lots of people have flags hanging outside their house. In the US, it's not a political statement like extreme nationalism. It really is the non political way to show love towards your country. Whereas if you see that in France, it's usually only on government buildings, or if it's on a house, it's usually connected to politics and showing extreme pride. So this was definitely a hodgepodge of different first impressions, but that's on purpose. I wanted to get my first reaction within the first few days, but let me know your thoughts or if you have any others that you notice the first time coming to the US below. Thanks so much for watching. Kobe Zuyara Pushin. Salut, ciao.